He stood at the checkout line, a tired father juggling groceries, a restless toddler, and a wallet that barely held enough. The woman in front of him, elegant but plainly dressed, fumbled with her card. Declined. Again. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. "It's okay. I've got it," he said quietly, fishing out a handful of coins and crumpled bills from his jacket pocket. She protested softly, embarrassed. But he shook his head. No one should have to walk away hungry. He didn't know she wasn't hungry. Or broke. Or struggling. She was the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, dressed down for a quiet day off, watching the world through unfiltered eyes. And what she saw stunned her. He didn't look like a man with much. His shoes were worn, his coat secondhand, and his expression carried the quiet weight of someone who'd done too much with too little for too long. But his eyes were kind. His voice was steady. And his heart, undeniably full. She thanked him, took the groceries, and walked out. But she didn't forget. 2 days later, that same man was called into an office he never dreamed he'd enter. Confused, nervous, he stepped inside, only to see the woman he'd helped standing behind a desk, smiling. "I didn't need groceries," she said. "But my company needed someone like you." She handed him a letter, an offer, a salary, and a new beginning. "Kindness," she said, "tells me everything I need to know about a leader." He didn't count coins that day. He counted blessings. And somewhere between a checkout line and a second chance, a stranger became a lifeline, and a moment of humility became the opportunity of a lifetime. Would you like this turned into a YouTube video description, thumbnail prompt, or title ideas next? He was just trying to get through the day, one more errand, one more stretch of dollars that never seemed to go far enough. His little girl tugged at his sleeve in the grocery line, asking about snacks they couldn't afford. He gave her a soft smile, trying to hide how tired he was. That's when he noticed the woman ahead of him. Her card had just been declined. She looked calm on the outside, but he could see the subtle signs, shame in her eyes, hesitation in her hands. Without a word, he stepped forward. "Let me cover it," he said simply, pulling a few worn bills and coins from his pocket. "It's not much, but it's enough." She looked at him, really looked. He didn't seem like someone with money to spare. His coat was faded, his shoes scuffed, his expression heavy. But there was no pity in his voice. Just respect. Just kindness. She nodded quietly, accepted, and left with a simple, "Thank you." What he didn't know, she wasn't struggling. She was observing. A CEO in plain clothes, walking through life without the filters of boardrooms and rehearsed resumes. She wasn't looking for help, she was looking for heart. And in him, she saw exactly what her company needed. 2 days later, he received a call he never expected. An offer he never applied for. A position he didn't even know existed. "You helped without knowing who I was," she said when he walked into the office. "That's the kind of person I trust to lead." He left the store thinking he'd helped someone buy groceries. What he really did, was walk straight into his future. Want a title list, cinematic thumbnail prompt, or YouTube video description next? The line at the grocery store moved slowly, but he didn't mind. With his daughter by his side and a careful list of just essentials in hand, he was used to making every dollar count. In front of him, a woman's card was declined. Twice. She looked composed, even graceful, but he could feel the silent discomfort in the air. Before the cashier could say another word, he stepped forward. "I've got it," he said gently, offering a quiet smile and sliding forward a few crumpled bills. "No big deal." She tried to protest, but he brushed it off. Everyone needs a hand sometimes. What he didn't know was that she didn't. She wasn't struggling. She was a millionaire CEO in disguise, dressed down, blending in, taking a rare afternoon to observe how people treat others when no one's watching. And what she saw in him wasn't charity. It was integrity. Strength. Leadership without ego. She left the store with more than groceries. She left with a name, a face, and a quiet determination to give back something far greater than what he gave her. 3 days later, his phone rang. Confused, he listened as the woman introduced herself, not as a stranger in a checkout line, but as the founder of a global company. "I didn't need the money," she said. "But I needed to see you." She offered him a job. A full-time position with benefits. Training. A path forward. "For what you gave in kindness," she said, "I want to return in opportunity." He hung up in stunned silence. He had paid a small bill with the last of his cash. She paid him back with the rest of his future. Would you like thumbnail prompts, title options, or a video description plus SEO tags next? He never expected recognition. He didn't even catch her name. To him, it was simple. A woman in line at the grocery store was short on money, clearly uncomfortable, trying to quietly remove items from her cart. He stepped in without hesitation. "Let me help," he said, placing a few bills on the counter. "Don't worry about it." She looked at him, surprised, maybe even a little suspicious. He didn't wear a suit or drive a luxury car. He looked like someone barely getting by himself. But there was no pity in his eyes. Just compassion. She thanked him, took her groceries, and disappeared into the crowd. He thought nothing more of it. Another long day. Another good deed, unseen and uncelebrated. But she didn't forget. Because the woman he helped wasn't just any customer. She was the CEO of a major company, doing an unannounced visit to observe real life from the ground floor. What she saw in him that day wasn't just kindness, it was integrity under pressure. Humility with nothing to prove. 3 days later, she tracked him down. He was shocked to see her walk into the auto shop where he worked, still covered in oil from a long shift. "You probably don't remember me," she smiled. "Oh, I remember," he said. She handed him a letter, an executive job offer, with full benefits and a salary that could finally let him breathe. "You didn't ask for anything," she told him. "That's exactly why I'm offering you everything." That day, he learned something unexpected. Character doesn't go unnoticed forever. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness becomes the doorway to a future you never believed possible. He didn't have much, but he had enough to cover her bill. The single dad had learned to stretch every dollar, every meal, every minute of sleep. Between shifts, daycare, and bills that never seemed to stop, his life was a quiet battle. But when he saw the woman in line ahead of him struggling with a declined card, he didn't hesitate. "No worries," he said gently, pulling out a few worn bills. "I've been there too." She didn't argue. She just looked at him, really looked, and accepted with a quiet thank you. No drama. No fuss. He didn't ask her name. Didn't expect anything. To him, it was a small act of kindness. To her, it was a moment of clarity. Because she wasn't who she appeared to be. She was the founder and CEO of a fast-growing company, disguised by simplicity, observing real people in the real world. She hadn't expected to be on the receiving end of generosity that day, especially not from someone who clearly had little to spare. But what he had, was what she valued most. Kindness. Humility. Strength without arrogance. 2 days later, his phone rang. He was changing a flat tire when her voice came through. "You probably don't remember me," she said. "But I remember you." She asked to meet. When they sat down, she handed him more than gratitude, she handed him a job offer. A real opportunity. A future with dignity, purpose, and a paycheck that could finally give his daughter the life he'd always dreamed of. "You didn't do it to be seen," she said. "But I saw you. And I see who you are." Because sometimes, character speaks louder than credentials. And in that single moment of kindness, a struggling dad rewrote his story. Would you like thumbnail ideas, titles, or YouTube video text plus hashtags next?